Welcome back, gamers. So you're a new or returning player to Zenless Zone Zero. Welcome. My name is Veilside, and today I want to give you an overview of how to progress from a brand new account's perspective. We'll get into some of the specifics, but my goal in this video is to give you a broad, overarching perspective so you can easily grasp the main objectives of what to do and how to be consistent in it. So let's get into the video, shall we? To start off, here's a brief intro to my ZZZ history. I originally started my account in 1.5 at the tail end of the Haramasa giveaway. At that time, however, I was too busy in life to really keep up with ZZZ. A few months later, I saw Yanagi and Evelyn were being rerun in 2.1 and 2.2. So, I swiped away and came out with Yanagi, her signature weapon, and Evelyn. But again, I had to put the game aside for various reasons in my life. While I was following it offline, I did end up hearing that Yixuan was finally coming back as a rerun character in 2.6. And from that point, I decided it was time that I needed to fully commit to the game. So I finally got back online and I got her. I got Yixuan and I started into the game. Since then, I've learned a great deal over these 5 months. I'm still learning, but what I have learned, I want to pass that on to you so that you know how to play the game, and so you'll have a huge head start to the new season coming in just 3 days from now. So as a brand new ZZZ player, what you want to do every day is 3 main things. You want to focus on your dailies, doing that quickly, which probably takes like 5 minutes. Then you want to do the story as much as you can handle each day. And then thirdly, you want to focus on your H.D.D system. When it comes to dailies, what you want to do is first go visit EOS in the video store or at a video store stand. Once you talk to EOS, you will see this screen, and basically what you want to do is choose a character, which you'll only have EOS at the beginning, so you choose him, but you can choose other characters that you can attain into the store through the date system, where you're able to take them on dates, build trust, and eventually you'll be able to use them as a worker in the Play Store. That's just done through the text message system, and each character doesn't really have an advantage to this system, so you can choose whatever you want. Then on these 3 tabs up here, you will need to choose all of those. One for interview, one for advertisement, one for romantic. So you'll just click this here, and then you'll go through and look for the genres that you need. So as you can see, here's the genre, action, and then documentary and thriller and suspense, urban, and so on, right? But you can also hit recommended tapes, which will put it in for you, which is a lot faster. And then once it's highlighted, you can just hit open, and there you go. That should be it. So that's the first of your dailies. When it comes to your dailies, however, you can also open up the compendium, which on controller you hold down left trigger, and it's the little paper looking thing with a Z on it, and it will open this screen. This is your daily screen. And just from talking with EOS and doing the video store, we now have 200 engagement for the day. So this is a screen that you want to get used to. It's a daily screen. Within that, normally you can do any of these to the right here, and it will bring up your engagement up to 400. You can also hit this redo weekly, which is a weekly little bingo board that allows you to collect a lot of other materials like money and potential items and polychromes, all kinds of good stuff. You end up, finishing this throughout the week anyway, but it's good to always complete this. Obviously, I only have 3 things left. I have 2 days and 6 hours to complete it. So that's the daily screen. And now what we will want to do is go on to our next daily. After we exit the video store here, we can go to our raffle ticket dog. You tap on this bottom left here, and what I've discovered is if you go slow, you actually get polychromes a lot more than you get Denny's. And there you go. That's the perfect example. We got 20 polychromes. So that's your second daily that you want to do. You can use the controller, but I like to use the mouse on this one. So after completing this second daily, there is one more that you want to do, and it's usually getting coffee from the Tin Master. But before you do that, when you log in every day, your stamina is most likely going to be full. So you want to use your stamina before you get the coffee. To use the stamina, you want to use it on one of the characters that you're going to put on your team. So I'm building Pulchra here, and I'm just going to select her. I'm going to see what she needs next, and she needs this to be leveled up, so I'm going to go ahead and click this, which will take me into another fight that I will use my stamina on so I can get this material. Now that the fight is over, I'm going to collect my coffee, use that stamina, do a bit of the story, and then tackle the third task of the day, the H.D.D system. Now we're going to look at the H.D.D system. Usually the H.D.D system goes along with... Usually it goes along with the story. So this is what it looks like. If we go over here to Prologue 1, on the tab up here, this is what it starts off with, right? As you complete the story through the quest log screen, this is going to open up for you. So within these, you can check the commission details and you can see your first time rewards. And some of them actually have extra items, like this, for example, or these here are little boxes that you can pick up. And in some of these little areas, you can also pick up chests that are on wheels, little hand truck boxes. So you want to make sure that you go through it and you complete all of these just to get you the most amount of polychromes that you can get, and Denny's, which are super important, and other upgrade materials. Once you're done with that, if you switch to the hard tab up here, the hard mode, it's really not hard at all, especially as you build your first team with Pyrois, a Stunner, and Nicole. And from here you can get other additional material. And I'll just tell you right now, don't sleep on getting Denny's. Denny's are so hard to keep when you're building characters. And like I do my best to farm everything that I can without having to use my stamina on Denny's itself. I'd rather use my stamina on upgrading my character's skills or core passives, or even getting into the drive discs of gear. So Denny's are really important. You need to prioritize saving and using these wisely, and your drive disks are last. Don't even worry about drive disks or gear until you until you've built up your character's skills and core passives. That's a good way to look at it. Once you've built up these core passives here, whether it's to E or to F, and you've built up these individual skills to the levels that you want to keep them, whether it's level 6, 7, or 8, whatever, a good standard is the ones that you don't think you'll really use on each character, just build it up to level 6. But outside of the other ones that you do know that you will use, whether you're looking at the character skills themselves or whether you're referencing it from another helpful website that kind of boils things down for you, you'll know to build those up to 12, 11, whatever you think is most profitable for that character. And once that character has duplicates or mindscapes, these levels actually increase. You can build them up to 14 or 16, sometimes higher, so keep that in mind. But this is the screen you want to build first for each character. When it comes to drive disks and your W engine, that can be last. At least the drive disks. Focus on drive disks last. Save your money for building your character's skills and core passives. Put on a W engine, and after you're done building those skills and core passives, then focus on your W engine, building it up to 60 or 50 depending on what you want, and then focus on drive disks. That is the efficient order to do it, because again, these take forever to build. Anyway, back to the H.D.D system. To get a lot of resources, you would want to complete these. Easy and hard mode. And hard mode is mainly, they just call it hard mode because it's within a timer. So complete the commission, finish the the combat within 5 minutes, and finish the combat within 4 minutes and 30 seconds, which is a long time. You can really do that, especially if you've built up your Pyrois first, and then your support halfway second, and then your stunner halfway second. If you have a team that built, you'll easily clear these. So go through all of these as much as you can. A lot of these will be locked until you've beat a certain part of the story, and then they will open up. There's combat missions here, as you can see as well, which don't have a hard mode, but again, it's just a time limit thing. Or you don't let a squad member die. Yeah, it's usually pretty easy stuff. Exploration is tied to the hollows, which is where you get other materials that you'll need. Lots of Denny's. And this H.D.D system is what you really want to focus on after you've had enough of the story. Because like I said, it took 5 months to finish all of the story consistently, daily, watching it without skipping. So once you're done with your daily amount of story that you can handle intellectually and emotionally, come into the H.D.D system after you've done your dailies and start working on these easy and hard modes and anything that's open to you. And then depending on how far you got in the story, you can just switch to these different tabs here. Now you can see, like for this as example, some of them were locked, right? And I've done all of these, right? But it's only at 67%. That's because these are somewhat locked behind side quests. So they will open eventually, but that's where I'm at this point. I've finished the story. I've finished all that I can do within the H.D.D system. Finished. Okay, this must have opened up recently. And if you don't want to do it, you can actually click Fairy up here and it can explore it for you, but it's going to use one of your cards. And like I said, these cards would be better used to store up battery rather than using them on this. Because I think it's a 10-minute marker. It takes 10 minutes for it to complete. You could get it done in like 5 minutes, you know. So I would suggest not using the cards on Fairy and just doing it yourself, saving up all your cards for potential batteries in the future. But again, I have finished everything that I can within the H.D.D system, and some of it is still locked. And that's your goal. You do your dailies every day, you do some of the story as much as you can handle, and then you come in here and you do your H.D.D system. Alright, with that being said, let's find out what some of the screens that you're going to need to get used to in ZZZ are. This being the main screen. When it comes to the main screen, first of all, we're going to save the background for last. I'll tell you how to get different backgrounds, but on the top left here, you have your character, or your profile, basically. You can choose these banners, you can choose different ones, name cards, and as you get duplicates of characters, it opens up more name cards for you, and as you complete different events, as you can see. So there's a lot of name cards that you could use. This shows you your level. You get little titles from doing different things and playing the game. You'll get badges from game modes. And this this area down here where you have your character showcase, it can actually be used with third-party websites that, you know, don't get your password or anything, but it can be used to examine the discs, the builds that your character has right now, and you can look at it from a bird's eye view, so to speak. We'll get into that a little bit later. But anyway, this is my profile. On the top right here, you have your stamina, your battery, which we've already gone through using our dailies. We have our dennies, and then it shows us our polychromes. If you click polychromes, you can actually see that monochromes, which you would spend in real life money on, can be transferred into polychromes. Then we have our event screen here. These are all the present temporary events, limited events that are going on. Some of them I still need to work on. And then some of them are endgame, like Hollow Zero. That's an endgame mode, basically. Really easy, fun, actually. I really enjoy Hollow Zero. And Shiyu Defense is another endgame. I do enjoy Shiyu, but I have, 13 days, so I can do that later. This one has 2 days and 5 hours, but you can see I've already got 8,000 out of 8,000. And you can actually do Hollow Zero more than once. You usually get the total score within one run, but you can continuously do Hollow Zero to build up more resources. You can farm Denny's that way, you can farm Z merits that way, lots of things. So outside of that, we have events that I've completed, and that's it. On the top left here, they just recently introduced this to the game, but this is your polychrome progress, and this is the screen that shows you all of the polychrome that you have collected from different things. what's left here is basically a new event that I have 3 days and 18 hours on. It's Good Morning Roskelifer. Then I also have Deadly Assault, which I'm still ignoring at this point, and Shiyu Defense. I'm ignoring Deadly Assault because you need 3 teams to complete it, and it's the hardest content in the game so far. And it's score based. So if you don't get a certain score, you're not going to get certain points, and then you therefore won't get the polychromes associated with it. I think you need a total of 6 stars, so 2 stars per fight between 3 bosses. But if you don't have 3 teams, you can't really do that because you can only use 1 team of 3 characters on 1 boss. Once you've used that team, you can't use that same team or any of those characters on another boss. So that's why I'm ignoring it for now, and I would suggest that you would ignore it too, as a brand new account, because you're only going to have 1 team. It's going to be a really good team, which you can do Shield Defense on, and you can definitely do Hollow Zero, because Hollow Zero gives trial characters for sure. But for, I don't know, the next several months, you would want to ignore Deadly Assault altogether until you build up 3 sufficient teams to get those stars. But also within this screen, you have this top tab here of permanent events. And this is an area where I will need to work on a lot more, which you will too after you finish the story and the limited events that are out right now. So we got Hollow Zero, we got another form of Hollow Zero. There's 2 different modes in there. We have the arcade where you can play little arcade video games. We have character stories. So lots of different things in here. And this polychrome guide is actually pretty helpful because it just shows you where you're lacking and where you could farm more polychromes. There's also tabs here that are associated with combat or just story or just casual events, you know, like video games and all that. So this is the main screen and we're trying to tackle it. We've done events, we've done the top, and now let's do the bottom. So the bottom, obviously, this is signal search. This is where you're going to pull your characters from, your premium banners. The 2 characters on banner right now is S. Billy and Orphe, and we have 3 days and 16 hours until 3.0. So here's their signature weapons, or their wengens, as they're called, W-engines. Then we have the standard banner here, which I have 3 pulls. Might as well do a cheeky 3 pull. See if I get anything. I got an A rank. Now, look, so I got Ambi, but since I already have Ambi, it gave me this material. And this material can actually be converted into premium currency. I'll do 2 more, see what I get. There's a B rank. And now I got this material. All these materials can be redeemed in a shop to allow you to buy stuff. Okay, so if you wanted to redeem that material, you go to the signal shop over here on the bottom left. And I have 8, so when I get 20, I can convert it into encrypted master tape, which is the premium currency. I don't suggest that you convert it into the master tapes because that's the standard currency, and you get a lot of that from completing the story, from building characters, and from doing other events, so you'll get it pretty frequently. If you want to save it all, though, you can save up 600 and buy actual W engines, which can be really useful. Then we have this other material that we just got, which can also be bought for a limited time. You can buy these if you want, but I don't think I will. You can also buy these, which help build your character's skills, which I'm working on Pulchra, so I might as well do that one. And then you can also use it to redeem Denny's, which is really important. Might as well take the last of it. Whatever. You can also get disk drive materials, W engine materials, and character level materials. Okay, then you also get currency from pulling on the Bamboo screen, which you also do get some discounts in here too, but that's usually monthly, like this one here. I've already bought it out. You can also redeem them with money, but when you're just starting out, you're going to want to keep these so you can get specific Bamboos that your teams are going to need. Lastly, you can just see a conversion of how much polychromes equals a pole, basically. So right now I have 57. 57 plus 11, that's 68. So I have 68 poles. Lastly, we got the monochrome market. As you can tell, I've spent, but I have not spent very recently. That was a long time ago. And these will refresh on the anniversary, as they did last year. So keep that in mind. Alright, so this is the new Eridu City Fund. This is the Battle Pass, which the top layer you get for free. The bottom layer, I think, is like $6.99. Really good value for polychromes and batteries. You get Denny's here. You also get this W engine selector, which is helpful. Let's see. It'll take you to this screen once you get it, and these two are dominantly the most important ones. You can view their stats on the bottom there with the view screen, but sometimes this can have use and sometimes this can have use if you don't have anything better for your stunners or for a potential defense character. Outside of that, we have the store, and this shows the discounted skin for Miyabi, which usually they release new skins that are discounted. This is the monthly pass where you just get a login reward of 90 polychromes for 30 days. You immediately get 300 monochromes, which is good, and over the course of 30 days you get 2,700. This plus the battle pass is so helpful and saving for characters that you want to pull for. And $6.99, $7, you know, plus $5 is not a lot of money. So this is really usually what I will spend on the game. And typically I don't have any problem polling for characters because I'm doing the events, I'm doing the story, and I'm doing side quests here and there, right? Yeah, you saw my monochrome market here, but like I said, I spent this, you know, 2 months into playing the game when I wasn't playing. Like, after I got Harumasa, I spent most of this on picking up Yanagi, her signature weapon, Evelyn, and Yishuan, right when I got back into the game, basically. So I wasn't farming daily, I wasn't doing the story, I wasn't doing quests, so I didn't have any currency to actually use, so that's why. Anyway, your agent screen is here, which I don't have everyone, of course, you can see here, which will be like your account, but you will have Anby. What is the... Oh, right. I got her Mindscape. Okay. You will have Anby, you will have Billy, you'll get Nekomata, you'll get Korin, you'll get Ben, you'll get Anton, and as you level them up, you can see that you'll get these. You'll get standard poles. at level 20, level 40, and level 60. You can also star them so that they show up at the top, which is easier to locate. And then as you get used to the game and figure out teams that you want to build around your main DPS, you'll know the sub DPS and the supports that you'll want to invest in. So now that we've seen that, the agent screen, let's look at this one. This is storage, so this is where your W engines are. You can add duplicates. Then we have disk drives. Your W engines actually are automatically locked, but your disk drives are not, so keep that in mind. That's really important. There's your material screen, and unlike Wuthering Waves or other games, the main stat selector and the substat selector of your gear is given out very scarcely in this game. Hoyo is kind of stingy in regards to these, so when you get these, usually through the Battle Pass and through Hollow Zero, maybe Shiyu Defense 2, maybe DA, you want to use them very cautiously, very wisely, and hold on to them and only use them when you really need them. Okay, so this is our quest log, and you can go on this all tab, which can seem very overwhelming. So if you don't like that, which a lot of people don't, you can just go to the key, which shows you your main quest, your main story quest. Then you have your events here. Then you have agent stories, which are pink. And then you have hearsay or side quests. So I have finished all of my main story now in these 5 months. So I've been trying to work on events more. I've done a lot of my agent stories, or agent quests. And now I'm also trying to focus on side quests to get additional dennies and other upgrade materials, because as I said before, dennies are not only super important, but you run out of them really quickly. Okay, let's see. We have our achievement screen, which you'll just get these periodically as you play. You can focus them, but that's the last thing on my to-do list. Notice screen, which can be helpful. It tells you about the events and characters coming out and what you can collect from the events. But what I like most about it is this event calendar, which shows you how long a limited character is going to be offered for, and how long events will be going on for, which can be really helpful. Outside of that, we have the options screen, which, as you can see, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can choose your graphics and, you know, all the inputs and mouse and keyboard sound language account, right? But if you go down to the other screen, there's actually something that you'll want to turn on, and thank me later. It's chain attack mode. You want to change it to manual mode. The game already puts it on automatically, which means that your chain attacks will trigger automatically, rather than triggering when you want them to trigger. Triggering them is really easy, as we've already seen. You just hold down a button and it will trigger it for you, and you can gain more efficiency out of your teams and more damage actually with manual mode on. But if you leave automatic on, it's up to you. It's totally fine. Next we have our mail, which we already know what that is, so I'm not going to cover that. This is basically your preset team that's going to go into a hollow. So just put in, you know, Pyrois, your stunner, and Nicole with your Bang Boo, and confirm the squad, and then that squad will be set up for when you go into a hollow. Lastly, we have the More button, which there actually are really important things in here, so you'll want to know. We've already seen the training. We've already seen the preset config where we can set up different teams. 20 teams. This is the proxy handbook, which tells you all kinds of different things about what you'll need to play the game, like anomaly buildup, anomaly disorders, the miasma, important things and a lot of unimportant things. We have upgrade guides, which takes you to a different screen. I don't usually use this, but it tells you what it's going to take to upgrade characters. Let's see. We have a community tab, which will open up the Hoyoverse website. This is our redemption code area, right here. We can submit feedback. There's an unstuck button, resource management, where you can delete old stories and stuff to make more space on your computer, and you can easily log out here or just close the game. So I alluded to it earlier, and now I'm going to teach you how to get the backgrounds on your menu up here, and how to switch through them. You can see I have plenty of different characters like Haramasa and Hinagi and others, right? So how do you get this? Basically, you open up this side screen here and you go to partners. You can access it through here, and the way it works is it's based on characters that you actually own. So for example, let's see, I don't have Orphe, so I might have completed some of these quest requirements that would be needed to take her on a date, but I don't have the agent itself, so I can't get her background. But what you do have, that's what you should work with. For example, Zhao here, I probably won't get her background, but it shows it like this, and this is basically a trust bar, and when you take them out on dates, you basically build trust, and the responses that you choose within those dates is what can actually give you a little bit more trust than the regular amount. Usually it goes by halves, so like a half right here, and then this half, and by the second half, you'll get a agent quest, which is pink, that we showed you in the quest log, and then after you do that, you'll actually get more trust, and then you're about maybe a day or two away from getting the full trust bar filled out, which within the trust bar, you also get rewards. It's not just the background. Let's see. So you get polychromes, dennies, and upgrade materials. You also get this, as well as the background. So outside of the daily screen, the story screen, and the H.D.D screen, we now have the start menu screen. And lastly, we'll cover one other screen that you'll normally work within, which is this top right area. Within this screen, you can see various different things that you can either teleport to or just click. The store, for example, will take you here. Here's your music store, where you can craft discs. Here's your Bangbu store. Here's your logbook for your story. You can view the journey here.
We will unlock the hidden worth of your forgotten treasures.
Okay. Your logistics shop, which is again Hollow Zero, where you can farm Hollow Zero material to buy stuff. Your preset config, which was on the left side of the main start screen. Your storage. Partners, which we already saw. Your outpost, which we already saw. The posting of Intel boards. Just going to Intel board directly. Your friends. and your personal homepage. So those are the 5 main screens you really want to look at. You got your daily screen, you got your story screen, which is through the quest log. You have your H.D.D screen, you have the start menu screen, and then you have this little side menu screen over here. So now, as you begin a new account, you're going to start off with Pyrois as your main DPS, a stunner like Anby as your sub DPS to stun the boss, stagger the boss, so you can do a lot of damage. And then you're also going to have your support, Nicole. So just imagine that this is Pyrois, and Lycon is Anby, or a stunner, and then you have a Nicole slot, right? That's your team. You'll want a Bang Boo, which will most likely be an Ether Bang Boo, and that will be your first team. Team building is somewhat complicated in this game, but can be very simple. It's really getting into the nitty-gritty of how the team works that makes it complicated, and that is tied to skills, buffs, and just the overarching amount of damage that you're trying to apply to the boss. For example, an anomaly team is not a standard team that you would think of. This game is not really built on the holy trinity, as it's called: the tank, the DPS, and the healer. It's more so built on a main DPS, a sub DPS, or a stunner, and a support. But you can, and of course you have your Bang Boo to add a little bit of damage, right? But you can also run different things. You can run, like, I don't know, an attack unit with 2 different stunners, depending on the characters and their skills. And you can run, an attacker with 2 different supports. You can do several other options, but the main point of team building is usually around a main DPS, a stunner or sub DPS, and a support. That's usually how it works within Zenless Zone Zero. Anomaly is a bit different because of what it produces or applies to the boss. When I was building my Promea team at first, it's technically my first, maybe second anomaly team, and Promea does anomaly damage. She is an anomaly character, which you can see here. She's an ice element, but her class is anomaly. When it comes to anomaly units, they don't scale their damage off of crit rate and crit damage and attack like an attack unit would. Instead, they scale their damage based off of anomaly mastery and anomaly proficiency and attack. And then after building up those 3 to a certain degree, you can add in a stat here and there, maybe pen ratio, for example. But crit rate and crit damage don't typically go with anomaly units, although Miyabi is a little bit of a different story. But, we can save Miyabi's discussion for all the pros who like to discuss her use case. The highlights on this screen are actually really helpful because they tell you the priorities of stats that the character wants. It tells you their class. This one's anomaly. It tells you their element, their level, obviously the name, and just all their overall stats. For Haramasa, however, he's an attack unit. He's an attack class. That's what it is. This is the class. This is the element. He's an electric attacker. And his highlighted areas are different. He wants crit rate, crit damage, and attack. And after you've fulfilled the height of those, you can add in something that here or there depending on your drive discs. But these stats are primarily built off of your skills, your core passes, I mean, and your equipment. So, obviously, Yuzaha is a support, and she's physical, and she wants attack and anomaly mastery. And although it's not highlighted, she wants anomaly proficiency as well, which you can find out based on reading all of this or watching a guide on YouTube. Lucia, for example, is a support, but she's ether, so that's her class, this is her element. Yixuan is a main DPS, titled Rupture. That's her class, and her element is Auric Ink, which, if you click on it, is basically Ether Anomaly. Same for Yanagi here. She's an Anomaly Electric. Lycon is a Stunner. Pan is a defense, physical defense unit, but he buffs sheer defense. So he works really well with Yixuan. And yeah, that's usually how team building goes. When it comes to our Anomaly team, however, Anomaly works a little bit different because of how it actually adds damage to the boss. Promea, for example, does a lot of Anomaly damage, but she does even more damage through disorders. And disorders are triggered when you mix two elements together. So as you can see, we have ice, ice, and physical, and then this is a physical bang boo. Accumulating a large amount of physical anomaly buildup, accumulating a massive physical anomaly buildup. So in order to trigger disorders, we want to mix ice and a different kind of element. That's kind of how anomaly teams work. But not all anomaly characters want to trigger disorders. It's a little bit complicated, but again, we will have suggestions for you at the end of the video for where you can get more help with that on specific characters. The good news is, however, that you will be working with a very easy team to start out with Pyrois, a stunner, and a support, and just a bang boo. So it won't be that complicated whenever you first start, and you'll slowly pick things up. But again, this is a guide to give you a huge head start and an overarching view of how to progress in the game. You can get there a few different ways. The way I'm getting to this screen is I'm hitting the right analog plus button on my controller to go here. And you can get there by going to the Scott Outpost. Or through your daily screen, you can go to Notorious Hunt. And back out. And then you're still at the Scott Outpost. So this is the area. This is your logistics guy. Deadly Assault is over here. And you got some NPCs over here. But mostly you'll be working within this area. This guy is where you farm your discs. And these are the two modes of endgame that you'll have access to first. Hollow Zero, which is really fun, and Shio Defense, which is pretty fun. These two you'll want to do. Shio Defense, you'll probably need 2 teams for this, So you can ignore this in the very beginning. But once you have a second team, it's helpful to do that. Right now I have, you know, almost 3 teams, and I can usually make it, I could put together 3 teams and make it here to the last one, but I can't get it high enough to get a full score, which is fine. I can get all of these first 4 as full score, which is pretty good. And it gives me the polychromes that I need and all the other materials. Hollow Zero, however, it's really easy. The screens inside of these areas look different, so you'll need time to get used to them. But mostly working within Lost Void is the fun one that I really like. This area just tells you about what's going to happen in the journey that you go through in this. During the exploration, gear coins earnings have a chance of increasing dramatically, along with a chance of losing your initial capital. Carrying more gear coins dramatically enhances agents' abilities, so that's good. It tells you that you're going to have 3 characters plus 1 squad configuration, and you'll have, at the very beginning of the journey, you'll be able to choose auxiliary gear that can buff your whole team or a specific character, that kind of thing. You can also do the standard tab up here, which the story looks like I have a story available. You can go to Purge, which is you can choose your own buff, and then you can choose another buff here to fight this boss. Then you have Crush, which is kind of a time game mode where you use this character and try to beat it within a certain time. Same for over here for locked characters. Survey is 2 bosses. You can usually use different trial characters that they give you, and you can get more rewards that way. But what I like to do is just the periodic one. If you hit challenge now, these are the 2 bosses that you'll have a choice to fight at the very end. And you can see you'll have 3 characters and auxiliary. So if you go in here, you have trial characters, so you don't have to worry about having multiple teams. Like these down here are all trial characters. Then it has your Bangboos. These Bangboos are your Bangboos, not trial Bangboos, so you'll have to build them up, the ones you want to use. But you can also see that some characters have an up symbol, which means that you're going to get more points by using them. So I'd probably want to use Pomam, and then I would probably want to use a stunner. Where is she? Dial in. And then I would want to use Yuzuha. But if I don't think that's going to give me enough points, what I could use is take them off and put in Billy, who's another up agent. Looks like it's just those 2. What if we... Okay, here's the other up agent, so it's a stun agent. So because Trigger is a stunner, I don't need Dial In as a stun, which means I can reselect this, take her out, and put Billy in to get the maximum amount of points. And choosing this stunner comes with a certain auxiliary gear, which tells you the information here. And then you just start the challenge. And at the start of this challenge, you always get gear, basically. So I always go to this guy first, and then Usually what I choose is the one related to gear coins, like this one. After passing through 5 areas, if you didn't spend gear coins to buy products in the store along the way, you'll receive a buff card basically. So this is the roguelike mode. I'll come over here and choose this auxiliary gear, and you can see that this one is for Starlight Billy. These 3 are. These are for Promea, and these are for Yuzuha. So usually I will choose either one for my main DPS, which would be Promea in this case. Usually this one. Or I will choose one for my support that buffs the whole team if there is one. The whole squad's damage increases, so you could use this one too. But in this case, I'd probably use this. And then there's a training dummy here that you can fight and get used to your team. And then before you go in to choose which of the right or which of the left, you want to grab these because they will give your characters all of their skill bar and their ultimate bar. So here's the ultimate bar, here's the skill bar. You can see them up here. And now what I like to do on the controller is hit the back button or the select button, and it will pull up a map. So on this map you can see that you have 3 floors to progress through. So you're right here, and you can either go there or there. And then once you make it all the way to this first boss, that'll be the first floor. And then you have another map just like this, but with different stages, and you just progress to the very last end. On the left side, you'll see that the definition of these little markers and what they will do. The blue ones typically give you Z merits, and the purple ones typically give you like other buffs. Obviously, you have combat coins, so these are where you can make your money to go to different Bang Boost stores to buy buffs for yourself, for your team. There's health, and then there's different challenges like time trial and just fighting, right? So that's this game mode. And because it's a roguelike mode, at the very end of it, your characters become so overpowered that it's super easy. It's actually pretty fun. I like it. And now we're going to get into the last part of the video where it will bring all of that together and give you the specifics that you're trying to find out for each character. When it comes to content creators, Jay Shua is probably one of the most, if not the most helpful content creator I have found. He is very funny, very entertaining. He explains things in a very simple way. He's actively producing content on this game, guides on this game. He works with voice actors for characters of this game and puts on fun events. He has, plenty of giveaways like interknot passes, battle passes, and sometimes even characters or skins. So he's a really good guy to follow on YouTube and Twitter, and even join his Discord. This is him on the screen. In addition to Jay Shua, or Josh, he does something really helpful called an account pilot, which if you pay him a certain amount of money, he actually will work with you over the span of a week on how to build a team and really just to advance your account really quickly to help you do things and to really catch up. So if that's something that you're interested in, I would hit up Josh on that, and He's a really cool guy to work with, so I think you'll enjoy the process. Secondly, Average Luck Gamer, or ALG, is what his nickname is. He's a really good guy. His content is great. Both of these people are veterans, if not all of the people on this list of ZZZ veterans. ALG provides a lot of insight in his guides, what to pull, who to pull, when to pull for certain characters. Talks about potential future things, the past history of characters that were introduced in ZZZ, and how the devs are making choices and what you should do based on those choices. He provides a lot of good content. Next up, this is a guy named the Sacred Spear, and he has a lot of good gameplay guides. He focuses on every individual character and how to play them, what teams to build around them. He speaks it, he teaches it in a very understanding way as well. So that's why I really like him. He's also sponsored by Hoyo. And from what I've seen, that sponsorship doesn't make him lie in any kind of way, as he's just focusing on the objective facts of how to play the character, how to play the team, how to build up resources. Fourthly, we have another content creator who's just like the Sacred Spear, but has his own different niche of guide teaching and character and team building. His name is Lino. He's on the screen here. And he's a good guy. He's an expert, a veteran on the game. Very helpful stuff. So give him a follow. Fifthly, we have Zic, Z-I-C, and he is much like Lino, who provides quality guides and explanations of how to play things. Number 6 on our list is Razor CT. He is also a veteran. He's Italian, so he's got the Italian charm. He provides a lot of helpful guides on Zenless, but he also talks about leaks and potential characters coming up, and how to think through them, how to make teams around those characters. He's a great guy, plenty of good content, so follow him too. Next up is another Zenless veteran. His name is EOXS, and this guy, he's played a lot of fighting games, so he picks up Zenless really good and teaches players how to play teams efficiently. Like EO is a guy named R2, who is basically the Haramasa guy or the Lycon guy, sometimes the Hugo guy. He provides a lot of fun content of teams that you wouldn't necessarily think to pair together, and he gets crazy scores, and he's really good. Usually has no-hit videos, and he gets every parry. He's definitely a professional at this game. He's very good gamer. Next up, we have a very funny guy for Zenless Zone Zero. His name is Phantom13. He provides a lot of content on this game and is always producing ZZZ content as well as HSR content, and sometimes Genshin, sometimes other games like Wuthering Waves. Very funny guy. He has some community things too, where he has a spin the wheel thing where he lets his players choose, or his chat choose for him what teams to build and see if he can clear it. It's pretty fun watch. The next content creator is a guy named Kana, and Kana also provides a lot of helpful guides, insights of team building, character building, how to play characters. He's really cool. Similar to Jay Shua, the first of our list, we have Kite the 7th, and he goes by a nickname as the Account Doctor. He often plays on other people's accounts to help them increase teams that they are weak in, and helps them clear DA, Deadly Assault, as well as Shiyu defense, and teaches them how to build discs more optimally and efficiently, and how to pair specific characters on the team that could be better rather than the ones that you already potentially have built. So he's a cool guy. And the last person that I'll mention is Zenpai. Zenpai puts out some fun content. Um, he has this niche where he does not want to build characters above level 50, um, and sometimes keeping them even at level 1. And he tries to clear end game or the hardest content that he can get to with low level built characters, which kind of teaches you that you don't necessarily have to have the highest level character, the highest level W engines, the best disk drives on your character to complete the game. He's got some fun content, and he's pretty funny too, so I think you'll like them. Many of their most helpful guides that I have found out of all of this list, I've actually saved on my YouTube channel in a public ZZZ playlist. So if you want to just go to one place and find a whole bunch of helpful guides on various different popular characters, teams, bang boos, how to build teams into the nitty gritty, um, how to understand classes and elements and anomaly and disorder, all that kind of stuff, that's saved on this playlist. So you can head on over to my channel here and you can find it right here. Lastly, for this video, we have our resource guide material. Here is where we have several helpful ZZZ websites that can actually give you all the information that you would ever want for individual characters, teams, building those characters or teams, which drive discs to put on them, which W engines, how high to get up on those skill levels, and all kinds of other information. So the first website that we're going to look at is Nanoka, and this is the cream of the crop. This is supreme website right here. Very helpful. So just go to Zenless Zone 0 here, and basically you can choose between all your characters and it will tell you all that you would want, all the materials it's going to take to build them, what level to build up their skills individually, why, which will be answered here. You can go to their W engine options, which would be this one, how much material it will take to build that. There's a Bang Boo database, disk drive database, all the polychromes that you can get from various different modes, item descriptions, bosses, endgame mode Hollow Zero, and endgame here. Mostly what I like to use it for is character building. Similar to this website though is Pridewind, which I do use as reference material. I'll just go to Zenless and then agents and look for your agent. Normally people know about this website because of their tier lists, but just because they have a certain tier list doesn't mean that it's all that accurate. A lot of people find their tier list kind of controversial, and I don't really use them for that. I use them just for reference material and on how to build characters. So they'll usually have a video that suggests how to build them, and these are the tabs that you go through: kit, review, build, shoe defense, and deadly assault analytics, teams and synergy, and calculations. So mostly what I use is the build option and the teams and synergy. Gives you some teams that could be paired with her, and the build here. In the build, it talks about the two dominant characters that are put with her and all her potential W engines, but usually this isn't an exhaustive list because there are other options for specific characters that could be on this list that aren't, so it's not as updated as it could be for W engines. But usually what I use it for is I'll scroll down here and I'll look at the disk drive options, and it tells you what you want to prioritize on the 4th, 5th, and 6th disk. So she wants anomaly proficiency, ice damage, which equals attack percent, which is greater than pen ratio, and then anomaly mastery for 6. And then it tells you the substats priorities here too. Then it also gives you kind of the max numbers that you're looking for. Endgame stats level 60. So attack, she's going to want this much attack. And then a range of anomaly proficiency and mastery right here. Then it tells you like skill priority, what you would want to work on first for a character. You want to get her special skill up to 12, her chain attack up to 12, her basic attack up to 12. Usually it's the first 3 that are up to 12, and then the last 2 could be put at 6. But that's where Pride Win is not as accurate on the material, because they don't give you suggestions on what levels to build those skills, which is where Nanoka would fill in that gap right here. Okay, then we have Faye, which Faye is really cool. This website was made by Average Luck Gamer, and basically what you do is you post in your UID, and all the characters that are on your banner here, your showcase characters, will show up in ZFae, and it will show all your individual discs, your overall stats, your mindscapes, what character you're using, and it ranks your discs, which is really helpful. And this is also a good way of where you can share your teams to other people who you want to rank your teams and tell you where you can improve, where you're lacking, without giving them your login information. There is a website like this, and it's Interknot, which again, you'll just put in your UID, and it will give you the same kind of information. The only downside about it is that if the agent is not level 60, or if their W engine is not level 60, it won't show the information. ZFae, however, shows it all, whether they're level 60 or not. My Evelyn, I think, is level 40. Yeah, she's level 40, and it's still displaying that she has no equipment, of course, but it still displays it. So that is ZFae and Interknot. And then next we have Flip Explode. It's a weird website name, but it's basically your endgame boss tracker. So it tells you all kind of information about the bosses of Shiyu Defense, of Deadly Assault, and it tracks just their HP, their days, anomaly, all kinds of information that you would want to make sure that you can effectively go into the endgame. Outside of all those helpful websites, lastly, we have a community website which you might know about called hoylab.com, and this is where you can find a lot of people in a thread kind of system, much like Twitter, where they can post redemption codes or fan art. You can make all different kinds of friends here just by commenting and whatever else. So yeah, that's all I have for you, and I hope this video was super helpful. I hope it will give you a broad perspective, a bird's eye view of how to play the game, what to expect, how to build teams, when to get into endgame, what materials, especially Denny's, that you would want, and helpful content creators that I think you can look to and lean on for their veteran information to help you. And when you're lacking information, you have all these websites and community aspects where you can gain friends to play this game, especially in this new season of Season 3. Thanks for watching. My name's Veilside, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!